thought I'd make a short video on something that a gentleman was dealing with in the comment section of the video. You know, this gentleman was speaking in a way that says that he hates himself and he's not trying to change himself for the world, but he can't stand himself. What should he do about it? You know? And, you know, if you hate yourself, I guess the first step would be to realize that you are not seeing something clearly. That's the first step. Is to realize that changing anything about yourself is actually a problem. The problem isn't who you are. The problem isn't you. The problem is how you are seeing you. That's what's causing so much suffering right now. The problem is also you are believing experiences that are inside, perhaps of shame, of guilt, of anger, of disgust, of worthlessness, of loneliness. You know, you are believing these experiences. These experiences are just that. They change, right? They don't always stay the same. Sometimes you have a lonely experience, sometimes you have an angry experience, sometimes you have a sad experience. The experiences are always different. So if the experiences are different, you have to entertain the fact that perhaps they can change to something even more positive. Now, the way to do this is to not do anything at all. Is to sit and accept your emotions and realize they are not telling you the truth if they are coming in the form of suffering. That's the most important thing, is to realize that if you are suffering, you are not seeing the truth. You know, who you are is beyond your opinions. So if you have an opinion of yourself and then you are having suffering from it, or vice versa, you are not sitting outside the mind. You are in the mind creating an experience that is unconscious. And it's a perpetual cycle. So the only way to stop the cycle is to start to accept everything that you're observing and just keep observing, keep observing, keep observing until you realize that you are the observer of these things and you are not those things at all. You see, this is how you fall into your God self. This is how you fall into the self. You observe, and by observing you realize that you are not that. Right? See, the truth is you are everything. Okay? But at first, when you are in the mind, you have to create a separation from you and your suffering so that way you can fall into your everything. The experience of self. The experience of self happens when you detach from your illusions or misconceptions. It's almost like you are in a little avatar and you have to get out of the avatar in order to realize that you are the one driving it. Okay? So this might seem a little confusing at first, but acceptance of the experiences is necessary because that means you are no longer taking it seriously. You are accepting, you are loving, and you're like, okay, whatever, this is just an experience. It's just an experience. And you know, let's just wait it out. You know, there are techniques. So you can look at a watch, say, okay, how long am I going to be this depressed? What's the flavor of the depression this time? What's the flavor of my self-hatred this time? What part do I hate the most right now? Is it the same as it was 10 minutes ago, or is it different? Start to measure it, weigh it, understand it, dissect it. And as you do this, you'll start to realize that you are the one dissecting, you are the one that's observing, and you will slowly but surely start to get a little bit more distance between you and your suffering, and at some point, you'll be more free. You will realize that there is nothing for you to fear, that you are more free from it. There's more space between you and the suffering. See? Space is really the difference between how much you suffer, you know? If a knife goes into my belly, I'm suffering much more than if a knife is out here. It's the same thing with the emotions. It's the same thing with the thoughts. When you become conscious of the space between you and them, then they are no longer harming you. So I hope this helps. I feel free to leave a comment, and I'll talk to you soon.